Hey everyone. Um, Working on my GPD WinMax 2. I had some battery swelling, so I ordered a new battery from GPD. It cost $75, and that was shipped to the US. Um, the version I have is the 2023 model, the 7840U, and I kept this thing plugged in pretty much all the time. So that's probably why the battery swelled. It kind of stayed 100% charged all the time. So here's what it is. Not a biggie. I'll use that top. All right. So we'll open her up real quick and figured we'd just do a little battery swap, and I'd just record it while I was doing it, just in case anybody else runs into the same problem. I just took my GPD Duo apart again, pulled the drives out of it, and I've got a 4070 in a DEG1 Minisforum dock, and it runs great. Like, performance is fantastic. But I considered putting in a desktop, so I had a desktop, an older AMD. Swapped everything into it, pulled my two NVMe's out, pulled the GPU, put it over in there, and it blue screened right out of the gate. And when I got into the BIOS and started digging around, and I'm like, you know what? I think that machine was actually going to be slower than the Duo with the Oculink dock. So, so I swapped it all back. Wasted about, I don't know, hell, took me about probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, just dinking around with that, rerouting cables and all that. Could have been working on this earlier. But it was worth an experiment. I did run a 3D Mark while I was at it, because I realized I hadn't run it yet on the GPD Duo, and got a 17,500 and some odd, and that's with the just the regular time spy, not the time spy 4K. But yeah, just running the regular time spy 17.5, so pretty good score, I thought. Okay, so here is my battery. You can see, I mean, some pretty significant swelling. In fact, it was a little tough getting the back on, but yeah, it's pretty swole. Not in a good way. All right, let's see. Pretty sure. I think we got to lift this, and I think we have to lift the NVMe as well to get the cable, because the cable kind of routes underneath it. And I've never actually pulled this battery out, so I don't know what all needs to come out of here, but just kind of looking at it here, there's a screw here and here, and it looks like there's some of the little hardware for the vibration motors mount in here, and then I think these are the speakers, so they'll kind of have to pop up and mount on there as well. So we will get started on all that. While I'm at it, that fan's a bit dirty. I repasted my heatsink in this one a while back with that phase change material. It did a really good job. I don't know that it was significantly better than what it was before it, but it also wasn't bad. So I'll take that piece of tape off. That. I'm sure it really snug. And I'd used the Crucial P3. This is not the P3 Plus, just the regular P3 in this one originally. And I had performance problems with this one. I ran it for a long time, probably over a year with this NVMe in it. And I don't know, had a lot of like stuttering issues and these like weird IO pauses and whatnot. And I finally swapped it out for a 990 Pro, a 4 terabyte 990 Pro, and this thing runs like a champ, man. But I took this one and another one, so I got two, and I put them in my GPD Duo. Uh, Definitely recommend those. Those run really really well. All right, so this is the battery connection. Go ahead and just connect it before we go any further. All right, and then oops. Got a little more tape here. We need to get these popped out. And so there's a few things that are taped to the battery. So need to be a little careful with that stuff. It was really easy to order the battery. I just emailed their support department right off the website, and they gave me a price on it, and then they just sent me a PayPal link, and that was it. So easy process, no complaints. I've personally had really good luck with GPD so far. Personally, I don't fault them for battery swell. I've had a lot of different laptops over the years that had battery swelling issues. Had a Razor. My wife had to swap her battery out in it. So I don't consider that too egregious a thing. I mean, I wish the GPD had better power management, but it doesn't. Okay, this might be a little more challenging than I thought. Okay, looks like there's two more screws up front, and I'm seeing there's quite a bit of stuff that's kind of around the battery, so this might be a little more involved than I thought it was going to be. Hmm. Well, all right, so this, whatever this is attached to the battery. And a lot of these cables don't have a lot of space. Is that like a Wi-Fi antenna? Is that what it is? Maybe. Hmm. Yeah, that must be Wi-Fi antenna. I don't know what else that would be. But, yeah, a lot of these components have a really tight cable routing. I'm about to make a hot mess out of it. They have some little like rubber grommets that go on the pins, little plastic pins. Something feels like it's holding that down, so I'm going to hold off on that a second. See what we're working with here. Okay. I don't see. I think maybe it's just a little glue or something. Yep, it's just a little glue. All right. I don't like pulling on these things too hard because they're not. A lot of these components are super small. These cables are tiny. Okay, there we go. All right, so there it is. That's out now. So now we can look at it and do a quick comparison. To the camera. All right, so this one's all super nice and flat, and this one's got, that's a big bulge. That's what she said. Yeah, that thing is smooshy. Not smooshy. All right. Very cool. Never had it this far apart. Interesting. Okay. All right. Get it in there. Like this. Not sure exactly how those motors. I think it goes with the. There's a flat side. I think the flat side goes there. And this kind of routed in this little gap here. There we go. Something like that. Add this cable up. All right. That down. All right. So good so far. I just had an opportunity to travel with my GPD Duo. It's been doing pretty well, but I have had a couple of minor issues with it that are odd. One is sometimes sometimes the screen will go black. It seems to be with power saving mode. So when it wakes from power saving mode, sometimes the screen won't come back on. The second screen, first screen's fine, but the second screen won't come on. Hmm. This is not wanting to push down. Feel like that's higher than it should be, but maybe not. But yeah, so sometimes when it would wake from sleep, the second screen wouldn't come on, and there was no way to turn it on. So that was kind of annoying because the only way to get out of that situation seemed to be rebooting the whole laptop, which kind of sucked. Because then, of course, you lose, whatever apps you had running or whatnot. The other one that I have kind of repeating trouble with is the there seem to be like some phantom touches because you'll see it like you can be playing a game or on a website or whatever, and suddenly the mouse will start like really rapidly pressing on either the far edge of the left or the right of the screen on the main display. And I don't think it's coming from the mouse from the trackpad. At first I thought it was the trackpad, but I don't think it's trackpad. I think it's coming from the touch screen because it kind of makes sense, right? Because it'd be, the way the touch screen works, it's an actual touch point where the trackpad would be touching wherever the mouse was on the screen. Um, it's not, it's relative rather than being that fixed position like that. So, yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's the touch screens that are doing it. And I can solve it by opening the screen. So if I open the screens up, uh, usually it stops doing it. But I have had it actually do it, I think, even with the screens up. And I try wiping them down and, that sort of thing. But so that's just a little odd. And I don't know what triggers it. It just seems to be kind of random. This little connector is a pain in the butt. Okay, I think that got it. All right, now see if I can remember where all these went. Hmm, the battery might be done. Neither that or I got that one. That one might have cross-threaded, which is why I usually don't run them in there straight like that. Yeah, I usually do them with my hand first. Oh, just my battery's dying. Yeah, battery's just dying. We'll power through. Or maybe it's just the threads, because that's threaded on the battery. So maybe it's not even threaded by default, and it just kind of runs into the plastic. So far, knock on wood, I've had a good luck with not, losing or, stripping or any screws on the GPDs, and I've taken them apart several times, and it's so far never been a problem. All right, that definitely seems to be on there. I didn't feel it click, but pretty sure it's down good. This is the toughest screw in the whole thing. Because you got that little plastic piece there that I guess holds the power down. I assume that's what that's for. Okay. This piece of tape was here, wasn't it? That was there. All right. This is the other connector I don't like. This little tiny fan connector. Sometimes I get lucky and I just pops right in. Sometimes not. Yep, got it. I hate to put much pressure on it because it's those thin little cables. Like one day I'm just going to smash right through one. Okay. Well, we're going to push our luck. Even though this guarantees that it's probably going to have something wrong. All right. Doesn't take long to take it apart. I will not put the back screws on just yet. But that one is my boot SSD, so it's just easier to just go ahead and throw that together. All right. I haven't actually turned this on in quite a while. All right, so either the battery's dead, which would be shocking if they sent it like completely dead, or I didn't get the power cable plugged in, which would not surprise me. What did I do with? I bought these Basis chargers a while back. These actually worked really well. I think they're 65 watt, if I recall. But when I got the Duo, I bought this Anchor Prime 100 watt, and I really like it. It's nice, but I've noticed, at least with the Duo, if I try to charge off the primary port and I try to add anything on the secondary port, I've tried it with tablets, I've tried it with my GPD Win, anything I plug in the secondary port, it starts like cycling the power, and it won't provide steady power on both of them. I never had that problem with the Basis one, but seems to do it on that one. But otherwise, if I'm just charging the Duo, it runs great, and it will run at 100 watts, so that's kind of nice. See if it even recognizes the battery at all. I used the WinMax 2 with the G1, and it was a pretty good setup for a while. I mean, I can't say I was incredibly unhappy with it. Performance was decent, wasn't fantastic, but it was decent. The only complaint I had with it is it was really loud, and I think if they had just made it a little thicker, and just gave it a little more heat sink, maybe even two, like, just slightly larger or thicker fans, um, just to keep it from that kind of high pitched whining. Um, I think it would have been a really nice device, but it was just a little too loud. Okay, so it was powered on. It was powered on, but nothing on the screen. So something's not connected, right? Probably the battery. I don't know how it behaves if the battery's not plugged in. I've never been unlucky enough to put it together without the battery connected. Yeah. All right. First time for everything. What's that I said about not losing the screw? Found it. I try to leave these in. I do the same thing on the Duo when I take it apart. Just really speeds up taking the case on and off. Okay. All right. All right. Rather not take that off again. Feel like I'm pushing my luck with that fan. But it's hard to get under there without it. Again. Okay, so there was nothing up here. There's no other connections or anything. That's the only connection that I got to worry about, I think, is this one. I feel like that was connected though. That that felt pretty good. That popped off nice. Hmm. Okay, I did hear it click that time. So that oop, no, then it popped off. That felt good. Okay, that felt right. Yeah, I think it might have been crooked or something before. Sure hope I'm not sticking my head right up in your way so y'all can't see. Probably am. Okay. I probably should get something better to push on that with. A little plastic separator or something. The screwdriver does make it a lot easier. Sure. Definitely like it. There's like a gazillion different models of them on Amazon or wherever you like to do your shopping, I'm sure. There we go. All right. Now we got power. Well, sometimes this one would take a while before I would get anything on the screen for some reason. I'm not sure what that's about, but that seemed to be pretty normal. Pretty sure I'd seen some other people in the in Discord that reported something similar on this one, where sometimes it could take upwards of a minute to before you'd see the GPD logo. I can hear the fan ramping up now. There it goes. So at least I know the fan's plugged in. So I know the fan's plugged in, battery's plugged in. Everything else should be fine. None of the other cables were ever pulled far enough out that they would be disconnected. So I think that'll be it. So anyway, that's a quick-ish battery swap on the WinMax 2 2023. $75 direct from GPD. All right. Hope that helps someone.